I'm here at the storage facility. I'm backed up to the boat trailer and I'm going to take some measurements. So we've got a before and after with the Timbren replacements for the factory bump stops. You can see there's no trailer connected right now. So let's take some measurements. All right, rear passenger side, we are at about 39.5 without a trailer connected. Rear driver's side, we are at 41. That's interesting. Front driver's side is at 37. Front passenger side is at 37.5. That's, I guess, maybe just because of the way the concrete's leveled out. So what I'm gonna do is put my drop hitch on, get the trailer connected. We'll remeasure how much sag we've got. And then later on, I'll install the Timbren spacers. Not really spacers, what are those? The Timbren suspension, whatever things, bump stops, right? Bump stops. We'll install those, come back, hook the trailer up, and we'll take another measurement of how much sag there is. Got my drop hitch on. As you can tell, it's pointed upwards. The hitch on this thing's so low for this particular trailer that I actually need it to rise up above the factory hitch location. I tried a 1-inch drop, way too low. I tried a straight out receiver. It was way too low, or not receiver, the hitch ball. So I'm gonna go 1 inch up. All right, that's there. I've got it one setting up from the bottom. Boat trailer is on the hitch. It doesn't look terrible, but you can tell it's definitely lower. So that's fully on there. I haven't clipped it on. I don't care about towing right now. I just want the weight on there of the tongue. Let's get the measuring tape and see where we're at. We'll go in the same order. So rear passenger side. We are at, what is that? Just under 37, so 36 3/4. Rear driver's side, we are at 38 1/4. Front driver's side, we're at about 37.5. Front passenger side, we're at about 38 1/4. I'm curious to see if the Timbrens help the front at all. Just like a weight distributing hitch helps some of the weight transfer to the front instead of just, you know, having heavier springs in the back. I wonder if the Timbrens, although they'll act just like heavier springs, but if the back coming up helps the front come back down, if we do have any rise in the front with the measurements before and after. Now what I'm gonna do is take this off, put my hitch away, and we'll go back to the house, put the Timbrens on, and come back and take another measurement. First thing we're gonna do is jack the truck up, give ourselves a little bit of space to work. My helper, Mr. Aiden, has got the jack on the frame rail and picking it on up. Got the wheel barely off the ground. I'll try to leave the wheel on. We got plenty of access to the factory bump stop here. And I don't know what size socket it is. I'm gonna try a couple and see which one it is. Need to get a socket up into the middle of that thing and then take it out. Got the old one off. You can see there's a big long through bolt. For your reference, it is a 10mm socket that you need to take the old one off. Kind of funny, has a tiny head. It's about the same size as the threads. I'm gonna keep that safe if I ever want to use it again. Now, what we're gonna do is get everything ready. So what you need is the spacer, the rubber spacer. It's a 1-inch spacer. Grab this big giant metal spacer, the rubber 1-inch spacer, and then your Timbren spring. And then you're gonna have one long set of bolts, one short set of bolts. Grab the long set of bolts, get yourself a 17mm socket, feed your bolt through the spring, then put the rubber spacer and the metal spacer on top. Then take your extension and your ratchet, put it all the way up in there onto the bolt so it doesn't fall out. And while it's in there, we gotta position this thing and get the thread started, then we'll start tightening it. Now I've got it installed, torque down, says to 35 foot-pounds. I think I put a little bit more pressure on it than that. Grab it, wiggle around, twist it, make sure it's nice and firm and it's seated, and you're all done with this side. Now let's go get the other side done. Now we're gonna lower the truck down gently. All right. Let's check it out. All right. So, what the instructions say is to make sure there's about a 1/2 inch gap right here. I think I've got a little bit more than a 1/2 inch. So I'm good there. That's unloaded. If you've got weight in the car, it might be different. Let's go get the other side done. Got the driver's side jacked up. Got the factory bump stop off. And finally, we got the bump stop on. All in all, if I had to take away the time spent to hold this camera and talk to you guys, this probably would take 5 minutes per side. Super quick and easy to do. Very simple installation. Now, a couple of obvious things. The bump stops have a 1/2 inch of clearance between the axle plate and the Timbren bump stop, so it's not going to change your ride height. Maybe if you have a toolbox, camper shell, something heavy in the back, that'll cause the back to be lower than normal factory unloaded. It'll be lower and this might change your ride height, but under normal operation for an unloaded truck, it should not change your ride height. The other thing to keep in mind is this does not change your truck's capability to tow past its maximum weight. All it does is keep the back from squatting as much and keeps it more stable, less side-to-side movement when you're towing, and keeps the rear end from moving back and forth when you have uneven roads and things like that when it is loaded and squatting in the back. For me, that boat I'm towing is right near the maximum capability of this truck. Brakes are fine, feels really good. I have the electric brakes on the trailer on 2 of the axles, and the electric brake controller on the Sierra is working fantastic, and it feels really nice and stable. It's a 3-axle trailer. It all works really well together. My only real complaint was that because I don't have airbags or any sort of leveling in the back, there was just way too much squat, and it was causing the trailer to sit lower than it should, and the back of the truck felt lower, although not really unstable. So all I'm looking for here is to get the back not to squat as much and to feel a little bit more stable around bumpy roads and such. That, in addition to the way-safe drop hitch that I'm using to actually rise up on the hitch, I think are gonna make this a perfect tow vehicle for our boat and anything else we want to tow here and there. Now let's go back to the boat storage, hook it up, and see where our heights sit. We are back at the storage facility. Let me get this trailer lowered down and we'll take some more measurements. Got the trailer lowered down onto the hitch ball. Let's check to see, are we touching? Oh yeah, we're touching right there. I don't see the Timbren bump stop compressing much, at least not visually, but it's definitely touching. This side, yep, this side's touching as well. All right, let's take some measurements. Same order as last time. Rear passenger side, I'm at barely over 38, so call it 38. Rear driver's side, we're at 39 1/8. Front driver's side, we're at about 37 3/4. And front passenger side, we're at about 38 1/2. And here's a wide angle shot to show you how it's sitting compared to before. I don't know if you can see on the video, but I can definitely tell in person that the back is not squatting as much. I've got the boat hooked up right there. Yeah, if you can see it, it's right there. See him? There's Kobe. And we're gonna drive it to the house and see what sort of difference there is with the Timbrens in there. So we're on this road to get out to the highway from this facility, and it's very, very bumpy. Almost immediately, I mean, we're still only going, 30 miles an hour? But I can tell the rear is a lot stiffer. Doesn't have as much squish to it, which, if it's a really bumpy road, might not be as comfortable, but on a regular highway or normal road, I'd expect it to be more comfortable, since you don't have as much bounce when you hit, large dips and things. But let's see how it goes. So far, it feels a lot stiffer in the back. So far on the highway and on the access roads, it's been good. Definitely more firm in the back. It just feels like I've got a much tighter spring back there versus the factory springs, which are a bit soft on this AT4. It does feel a little more confident on the road. I don't have as much, I don't have as much float in the steering. It feels like whichever way you're pointing it, that's where it's going. That could have to do with a lot of other things, but just a before and after observation feels more confident on the road. The only downside is the kind of firm ride. It's a little too firm, in my personal opinion, in the back when it's loaded this much. That boat and trailer probably weighs about 9,000 pounds, give or take, with I think around probably the gear in there right now and the fuel, I'd guess around 850 pound tongue weight. If it was a lot lighter, probably be a much smoother ride. But when it wasn't loaded and there was no trailer hooked up, the ride was no different from the factory ride. I felt exactly the same, no difference or anything there. Would I recommend them? If you're towing heavy stuff around and you just need a little bit of extra support, yes, definitely, I do recommend them. If you're just towing around something that's probably, 5,000, 6,000 pounds, maybe a 22, 23, 24 foot boat with maybe a 600, 700 pound tongue weight at most, you're probably fine on the stock springs, and just get a drop hitch with the right amount of rise or drop and call it good. For me, at the top end of the scale, as far as how heavy you should be towing with a 1500, it's definitely helpful. So if you're trying to get that last little bit out of your stock suspension without airbags or anything else, these Timbrens are definitely an easy installation. 10 minutes tops for both sides combined, and fairly minimal cost and complication. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or if you have any comments what I could have done better, definitely would love to hear your opinion. Until next time, love y'all. See you later.